Good afternoon, and welcome. It is Monday, November 10th, and welcome or welcome back. I missed last week, so I'm going to give a minute or two and to see if anybody hops on before I get started. I am flying by the seat of my pants today, please. Almost had another little fall over here a minute ago when I was trying to decide if I wanted to get the heat gun plugged in. Hello, Rose. Thank you for being here. Yes, I apologize for having to skip last week, but when friends are in need, and had a good friend who was in some pain, needed to go to the hospital, so I took her there and spent the day while they ran some tests, and unfortunately she still is in the hospital. Just kind of waiting for some results of things, and I'm praying for the best. Taking a breath here, or deep breath, because what I was going to do last week, I ended up not doing, and then switching gears actually just a little bit ago when I had this little brainchild here. So, hi Shirley, welcome. Do you have snow over in your neck of the woods, Shirley? We had our first little snow on the ground this morning. A friend of mine was out a little bit ago, and she said she got into like a little blizzard, and then it went away. So I hope it's going to be okay when I go to my gathering for dinner after my live here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as I said, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I've got things all spread out here, so let's hope that I can pull it together, because it's been quite a week actually. I spent some time visiting my friend and just trying to cheer her up and everything, and so I did not even get back down here to do any creating during the week as I had planned, or I might have done my video earlier. So anyway, this is what I'm using today. Let me get down to my desktop. Is it snowing now, Rose, over there? Okay. Well, they said we were under this warning until tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And surely I know everything that we get heads your way too. So I am using Gathering Moments. This is an online suite of products. And it comes with some beautiful dies. Let me show you those real quick. And these stamp sets with wonderful sentiments, expressing heartfelt gratitude. Your friendship means the world to me. Many thanks and thankful for you. Sentiments that can be used any time of the year. And, leaves and acorns and things like that can also be changing into different colors to be used other than during the fall. It also comes with these Cajun Craze and Gold dots, which are lovely. Cajun Craze is one of my favorite fall colors. It's just wonderful. Whoops, there's a little leaf I cut out. Now, these large dies here, the big oak leaf and the maple leaf, do this. So you can use them together, and then you get this with the frame. That's the way it cuts out. So when I did this one, I strategically placed it on a piece of paper that I can take either some background paper or something else to make this into a card. This has the stitching in it, and I could not find a needle, actually a needle threader, with a big enough eye in the needle to put some thread in here, because this also comes with some early espresso and old olive linen thread pack, which can obviously be used for lots of things. There is an embossing folder too that I don't, whoops, here it is. Thought I didn't have it at the tip of my fingers there, but there are some tiny, tiny leaves there. Let me put this piece of paper here that you can possibly see. Teeny tiny leaves, and it is a 3D embossing folder. And then, I'm not going to use that today. And then let me get to the designer paper that is absolutely gorgeous. And this is a specialty designer paper called Gathering Together Specialty Designer Paper. And the specialty usually will have some kind of, let me get situated here, metallic to make it special. So this has gold in it. And I'm going to be using this side of the paper today. Yes, we did use a marker to connect the dots. I could do that, Rose. Thanks for that reminder. Maybe I'll do that with that instead of sewing. This gorgeous plaid, which is kind of on a masculine side. Love this side too. This is pretty. Let me see what I've got here that I haven't already pulled out and used. Of course, I'm trying to use it strategically. Let's start at the back. So we've got this gorgeous paper with those leaves showing here. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. That's not zooming. With the leaves from the embossing folder. And there's the front of that. Here's a very pretty woodsy-like looking thing in early espresso with some old olive. So we've got lots of leaves. And boy, this snow and the rain that we've had have surely brought the leaves down. Here's another one with early espresso, gold. We've also got crushed curry here. And then this is the one that I'm using today. And then this one with basic beige here in the back. Just gorgeous. I'm also going to be using a non-Stampin' Up! Product today that I just got because I want to use it for some addressing Christmas cards, actually. Whoops, let's put that away. And I will explain that in a minute. And it is something I got on Amazon just the other day. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I can use that. So let's see where we go here. All right. Have you ever, switching gears here, have you ever looked at your stamps? You've got all these tiny little, I know that that's kind of like an oxymoron, a double something or other. Specifically these here and maybe this one here. And you want to create a background. Okay. So, let's see, I can put those dies away and that away. Create a background where you put a lot of those, or however many of those small ones you want, on a large block. And you can create a background very quickly with those. And you want to put them close together because if you make them too far apart, unless you start trimming your rubber again, that's not going to work. Now, I will say this is probably one of the last sets that is in rubber. This came out, I think, in August, and I'm just getting around to using it now. So this is still the red rubber. Everything going forward is photopolymer. So you could probably scrunch things up a little bit more with the photopolymer. But we've got this. We know we all have our red rubber stamps that we're going to continue using, even though from now on we will be using photopolymer. So I'm going to do a tone on tone here with a piece of Cajun Craze, some Cajun Craze ink, and create a background. And since this is bigger, I'm just going to do this. And you do want to try to not get any of your edges, but I do want to point out one thing with these is, even though I've stamped the whole thing, I don't know if you can see this, part of it is lighter and it gives you that more realistic look of your stamps. So don't be concerned that that's not all filled in. It's filled in at some point. So anyway, I'm going to take this, and I like to start in the middle, because if you don't do the middle first, it's kind of hard to get back in there once you do the side parts. So there we've got that. Now I can go back in and fill in my edges and just kind of go around with that. So it's like creating your own little background. Don't forget to turn your stamp. In this case, I'm calling this whole thing my stamp. And let's put a little bit there. So I didn't end up getting as much of this this little background stamp as I liked. So I'm going to pull that off actually and put that on a small block and fill in some of these empty spots. Just kind of go around with that to create that background. And that fills in like that. So that didn't take any time at all. That was pretty cool, actually. Let's put another one over there. And I will get those clean in a bit. Now there was one larger stamp that I didn't think fit with the smaller ones here, so I did not put that on that big block. And leave that open because I think I'm going to come back to that. And I'm going to add that to my card base. So it's another tone on tone with this piece going on here like this. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's see, what kind of adhesive shall I use? Let's use some snail. And even though this seems like a lot of extra paper, if this didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to, I could have turned it over. Whereas if I had done it right on my card base, I kind of would have been stuck with not being able to use that part of the card. So this makes it a little bit easier, and I like it better. All right, so let's get a piece of basic white to go on the inside, and that's where I'm going to use this large oak leaf, again with Cajun Craze, and just kind of keeping this basically monochromatic, and let the designer paper pick up those other colors that we like. Okay, so that's going to go in there. And I cut this, I believe I cut that to 5 3. This piece is 5 3/4. The one on the front is 4 by 5 1/4. And this, I like that background for the inside. Okay. Now I have a piece of the designer paper that I've cut to 3/4 of an inch by, I think it was the 6, because I'm going to cut it off. And that's going to go there. And then I have a piece of crushed curry that's going to go on here. And this is from the dies that are called Label Me Grateful to get this, which I just love. And this has some acorns. It's got some little oak leaves. This is a great set of dies to have. I may do something else with this, but I'm still thinking. Okay, so before I do this, I'm going to emboss, and I thought this needed a little bit more gold. So let's get our embossing buddy here. And the embossing buddy takes care of any finger oils and stray things that will pick up embossing powder that we don't want. Hello, Sue. Welcome. Okay, I'm just going to fold this in half and use that to collect my embossing powder. And for this, I'm going to put expressing heartfelt gratitude. Ah, Sue, it's good to see you. And I also need a Versamark pad. Versamark, if you don't know this, has a quality in it that not only gives you a tone on tone if you don't want to add embossing powder to it, but has a pigment in it that will hold embossing powder. So I'm going to, let's see, because I'm going to add some leaves up here. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit to the left. If it's not absolutely straight, that's going to be okay. Okay, now I can see that pretty well, and maybe it still had a little bit of ink on from what I had been using before. And now I sprinkle on my gold, wow, embossing powder. Okay, and I see a little bit of powder that I don't want. And I don't know, do I have the brush? Yes. This is the brush that comes with our embossing kit that includes, not the embossing powder, that's a separate purchase, but it includes the brush, I think it fell out. Tweezers. Where did the tweezers go? Oh, here they are. Includes these reverse tweezers that you can hold onto so you don't get your fingers burned. And a tray that I have hidden down there. And actually, this brush is a little bit bigger than where I need to get some of that out of there. So I'm just going to use my finger to brush that away. And here we go. Let's heat up the embossing heat gun. This has 2 settings on it. A low one for drying, and then a high one. Here's the low. There's the low. That will just dry if you're doing some watercoloring. And then this is the heat that gives you the hot. And it does get very hot. So here we go with that. You can also heat from behind. See if you can get in the camera here. There, you can see that doing the magic. How about that? So you could see it as it went across there. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. And that gold really, really does kick it up more than one notch for your projects. Okay. So I'm going to add this piece here, this piece here. So let's glue this down. I think I'll use the snail adhesive on this as well. And I don't like to put anything right in the center. You know, either drop it down a little bit. I used to call that reading position when I was teaching from a business standpoint. Something had to be in a reading position. So I'm going to use this little grid here to see it, make sure I've got that straight. Okay, I think that's straight, and grab my snips and cut that off. I think it's a little crooked, but hopefully nobody will notice when I get the little pieces on here. All right, so over here, I have some pieces that I did cut out from the designer paper. This one was on an edge, and notice it's got the gold veins there. That's what makes it so special and makes it a specialty paper. So we've got the gold there. Now I could use those. And then I decided to go ahead and stamp some of those same pieces that are here that can go along here. And I thought, aha, I bought those gold pens. Well, actually, it's a set of gold and silver that I got on Amazon. And this is the box called Lecreo, L-E-K-R-E-O, Pigment Ink Highlight. And it's a fine point. That's, I think, why I ordered it, to be able to address some cards. So there's the silver, here's the gold, but I know I will use those. I thought these look so blah compared to the ones that I can cut out, because I've not figured out that any of the dies match any of the things that are on the designer paper. Maybe I've not researched it enough yet or looked since I just started playing with it, but I thought these look so blah. So let's use, just need my glasses. Let's use this fine point pen and add some gold to these die cuts. Now, some of these were done on basic white. These were done on basic beige. And I'm just kind of flicking that on there. And I thought that really makes a difference. So if you've got some gold things, now here was the one on the little toadstool. It's got some gold dots on there. So I'll add some gold dots to this little toadstool. And a couple more. It really, really makes a difference. Kind of getting a little crazy on this one. And then it looks more like it came from the designer paper. This one didn't cut out so well. Maybe I need to trim that one a little bit. Okay, let's see what it looks like on the white. Those are all with the basic beige. I'll just put a few on there. I won't go overboard. And here are these little berries. I'll just put like a little shadow on there. And one more little acorn. I'm not even sure how many of those I'm going to use. But they'll be ready for when I do. Okay, let's put those two away. These have the gold on them. All right. Now I suppose I could add some gold here, but I think that would be just like kind of overkill, so I won't do that. And let's grab some dimensionals. And I'm going to put that off to the left a little bit. Again, I don't like it right in the center. I think it's better for visualizing that. Now let's see what I can arrange on here. Maybe one of those. And mix in a white one. Got to have a little toadstool down here. And maybe an acorn. I'm going to stick, I think, with the basic beige instead of the white ones. And the acorn. Then we still have some room for some of these Cajun Craze gold dots. Thank you, Sue, for the nail polished comment there. My nails grow so fast and so long. I don't like them when they're this long. I think it's next week maybe when I get them done again, but thank you so much. All right. Now, these are also very pretty that I did cut from the designer paper, but I think I will just save those for another day. And for these, I think I'm going to use some glue dots. We have so many different adhesives, and you use adhesives for different things. Whatever works. Okay, let's go that way. And, oops. That one doesn't want to come off, so I'm not even going to work with it. Let's put that back there, I think. And now some of these dots. Got 3 different sizes. Small, a medium, and a large. And let's go for broke today. Let's use a lot of them. Let's use 5. Oh, that's a little bit overkill. We'll put 2 of them together. Okay. All right, so there we go. I'm going to go into the inside where I'd stamp this larger one and also put some gold there. So this is a great set if you send Thanksgiving cards, which I know is creeping up so fast. Can't believe, what is it, 2 weeks from this Thursday? I think so. I wish I had something, or we had something to splatter gold on here, because that would look really pretty. But I don't. But I'm going to go back to something that Rose mentioned and grab the light. I think I will go with the light Cajun Craze Stampin' Blend. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, if I've not mentioned it before. The Stampin' Right markers will be retired if they're not already on the last chance list, because everybody's using the Stampin' Right markers. So let's see how this works, Rose. And I'll do some putting them together this way. Just kind of connecting the dots. It works. I think it looks better if you go into the dot too, then it looks more like a thread. Okay, so I better connect the dot over here. Okay. So there we go. Thank you, Rose. That was a good idea. Okay. Well, that does it for today. Oh, I had one more thing to do, and that was to do my envelope. And for that, I usually use a piece that is 6 by 2 1/4, so that there's still enough left there I could put on another card. And sadly, this piece goes in that direction, but maybe I'll put that, I think I'm going to put that on the envelope. Nobody will know the difference. That looks very pretty. Okay, so it does look like it's stitched. We all have to have our great minds put together to come up with some ideas. And to tell you the truth, I hadn't even thought of that, because I knew that we had this linen thread, and that would have taken me a whole lot longer to do that and put it together. So thank you. Whoops, I was actually going to put that on the other side, wasn't I? Lost my train of thought. That's okay. There will be other opportunities. All right, so that finishes it off. There's that pretty thing to look at. And here's our card. And then I did do this one earlier. Didn't like it quite as well, and I really like the gold on there. And I used different paper. But I like this one a whole lot better. So thanks for being here today, and hopefully if everything goes as planned, I'll be back next Monday at 3:30 and see what I come up with. So have a great rest of the week. Stay warm. I think it's supposed to actually get warm again by the end of the week. And go out there and create.